Okay, we're here for a variance hearing for 7209 Delfield Street. The agenda for tonight will be a quick presentation by myself, the applicant's presentation, and Adam, were you going to share your screen for that portion?
Yeah, I do have my PDF screen. If you're doing a presentation, there's probably going to be a bit of redundancies. So when you're done, I'll do my best to skip over redundant info and keep my comments brief.
Sure. So once I'm done, I will hand it over to you and it'll allow you to share your screen. And then we will have a period for council questions. All five council members have joined now, so they'll have a chance to ask questions of you. And then interested parties, any neighbors, I do see Kathy and Tom are online. I believe those are the only residents that have joined us. And then if there's a need for a response from the applicants, they can provide that at that point. And then we'll close the record, and then the council will go into their discussion and vote. So that's this plan here. I'm going to share my screen. And can everyone see my screen?
Yes, going through.
Okay, great. This is the property that we're talking about here on Delfield Street. And the applicant is adding a two-story addition to the back of that property. And as you can see, it's a pretty narrow lot. And that's why we're here today.
Well, going back, could you just go back a quick question?
Sure.
Where do the Plotzes live? Which side?
On the north side.
On the north side. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. That's all. Please continue.
And then for the actual exhibit here, thank you, Ron, for color coding this. I hope you broke out your crayons for this, but the this is this is a Delfield Street here. So you're kind of looking at it from the front of the property, and this is the existing house here. You can see it's non-conforming to the village building code. We require 18 feet combined side yard setbacks. That's 8 feet minimum on one side and 10 feet minimum on the other side for a total of 18 feet. And that is not what they have here. So the yellow part is the variance. You see the addition is actually narrower than the rest of the house, but the rest of the house is non-conforming. So the yellow point here for the addition actually does require a variance from our building code. The section of the code that we're referring to today is 7402E3. That's the 18-foot side yard setback. A variance is sought for the two-story addition here. There's the side property lines here. You can see Ron's writing a 6.9 feet on one side and a 7.6 on the other. So that leads to a calculation of a needing of a variance of 3.5 feet from the building code. So that concludes my portion of this, and I will hand it over to Adam in 1 second.
Okay.
And before you start, Adam, I'll just note for the record that we do have a letter in support from the neighbors, Kathy and Tom, who are joining us tonight as well.
Terrific.
Yeah, and anything else, Ron, that I missed? Or
No,
Doug as
no.
well? I should
I would just say, Adam, you can take note that the council has had the opportunity to review the application in advance, so you don't have
Great.
to restate everything, but feel free to address what you'd like.
Okay, I appreciate that. Can folks see my screen?
Yes, it's up.
Are you looking at the packet?
Yep.
Okay, so I had sort of prepared a full walkthrough of this, but since everybody's pretty familiar with it, what I will say is I will give sort of a quick, lighter overview. If anybody has questions, feel free to just say stop. I can't see you while I'm in this mode sharing my screen, so just speak up. I can't see a raised hand or anything. If I'm glossing over something too quickly and someone has a question, just feel free to speak up. My name is Adam McGraw. I'm a principal at Studio MB Architects. I want to thank you all for your time again on a busy Tuesday night where some people probably have some eyes on other things going on. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to present our variance application for 7209 Delfield Street. We're working with Rob and Karen Lager. who are interested in creating that addition on the rear that require that that variance. So let's see. Hold on, I've got to move. Okay. So the owners purchased the house in 2004. They've been in the neighborhood for 21 years. The original house was built in 1939. The original structure is this 2-story brick colonial. And then in the 1980s, a previous owner constructed this wood siding addition, which is a slightly more contemporary style facing the rear. This is the existing site plan. Rob already sort of pointed out that existing nonconformity along to the north. I was just going to point out the lot area is about 7,560 square feet. The existing footprint of the house with the original and that older addition is about 1,400 square feet. The setbacks at the front corner and the back corner are slightly different according to our survey. So I had a rear setback at that back corner of 7'1", where you are correct, is there's that 6.9 or 6'10" setback here. So my ask for the variance is a little bit off of the 3.5. I was calculating about 3.3 based on that. So minor tweak, and I don't think it'll hold up the conversation tonight. Existing floor plans, you can see, you come into a foyer, there's a living room, there's a guest room, which is up a few steps over the garage. The kitchen's kind of landlocked in the middle, which is a big goal of the owners with the renovation. And then that 80s edition is a family room, dining room, which is kind of this long, skinny room here. And then this sort of double height dining room there in that back corner. Upstairs, it's just, kids' bedrooms and then a primary at the back. Existing elevations, I don't think require much explanation. Again, where the original structure and that 80s edition are pretty clear. Unless anybody has any questions, I'm gonna keep moving. The proposed project footprint, as Rob's exhibit indicated, the owners are just proposing to square off that previous addition to gain an additional 96 square feet of footprint addition over 2 stories. And that area requiring the variance is that northeast corner. Again, we're tracking about 3 foot, 3.5. But, I mean, we're all talking about the same area. And I was going to explain the setback rules, but I mean, I think Rob already did. That's 18 feet is required. So I think we're all aware of the issue. Looking at the floor plans, the area of total addition is dashed in red, and then the area of variance is sort of highlighted in orange. And you can sort of see the plans show how, that variance, what that allows us to do is sort of gain sort of a simple geometry. And, what we're trying to indicate is that if we had to conform with the setbacks in the addition, we'd either have this sort of awkward geometry of this big bite out of the corner, which cuts down on the functionality of the kitchen and the upstairs, or we'd be sort of tearing down this north wall and building a new wall straight across, which would be sort of costly demolition to the existing structure as well as the foundation, and making this sort of a more complicated project than it needs to be. Again, I don't think the elevations show a lot, except for, by keeping that proposed existing addition in place, they're proposing to sort of, again, reuse the window openings of the previous addition. They are proposing to close off these 2 middle ones to provide wall space for a fireplace. And then the north elevation, is pretty much a blank facade now. We're proposing to leave it that way, not popping any sizable new windows or anything, any bright lights looking at the neighbor. We're just proposing to replace that plywood siding with a more durable panel material. Facing the rear, again, on the left side, we're proposing to maintain some of those existing openings of the previous addition. And then here you can see on the new addition, we're proposing new doors and new windows, and as well as some natural wood siding, which is sort of around these openings there on that side of the addition. Here is a perspective view showing the existing back of the house, what it looks like, you know, with, again, that sort of plywood addition built in the 80s, this sort of sizable deck and rail, as well as steps down and a wood terrace structure, which is on the back. And here's, from the exact same viewpoint, our proposed addition renovation. I mean, you can see how there's really, it has minimal impact on the overall massing of the house, and that variance requested here at that northeast corner, approval of that really allows sort of the simplest solution, which is squaring off of that existing structure and really making use of the existing resources of being able to keep all of that addition and not, you know, tearing it down and throwing it away. And also, we feel there's no real change in the access to lighter air to the neighbors to the north. And there's really no change to access to lighter air for neighbors to the rear or neighbors to the south. And all the loggers have shared their proposed plans and their variance request with all the abutting neighbors, side, north and south and rear, and none expressed to them opposition to the proposed variance. And as Rob, you indicated that the neighbors to the north at 7211 Delfield did provide an email letter of support. So that is, in a nutshell, our presentation. I hope I didn't go too fast, and I'm happy to go back, answer questions, you know, go through anything in greater detail than I did before. Or if Karen and Rob, if you'd like to add anything that I didn't cover, feel free to speak up.
Yeah, actually, Karen and Rob, anything to add to that?
I think you all said it well. And Adam, Tom and Kathy, thanks for being on the call. And we did, as Adam just said, we did talk to all neighbors. So we talked to 4 different, Tom and Kathy. I'm pointing like you guys know where I'm pointing at, but 2 in the back and both side neighbors, and actually across the street as well. So actually, I think we've talked to 6 now in total. And you know, our hope is, as Adam said, you know, it's certainly the ease of the project, and makes the most sense without staying in line with what I think we all want our neighborhood to stay, and not have it become mansions or McMansions or whatever the word is. And hopefully by doing this, you know, we don't disrupt anyone's, you know, you said it so beautifully, air and light. You know, we want it to be something that doesn't disrupt anybody else's living experience either. And feel like this is the easiest way for us to do what this house needs and what we need or would like, and is neighborly, we hope.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, this is very much an internal, mostly an interior renovation. And we need that extra corner just to make it all work out for our big move of the kitchen, which is right now in not the right place in the house. And we wanted to be extremely respectful of our neighbors to make sure that we did the least amount of exterior alterations. Other designs we looked at were we felt much more sort of, I would say, invasive into the backyard. And we didn't really want to do that to change sight lines throughout for our neighbors as well, because we're very sensitive to that ourselves. And you know, it's been actually a great opportunity for us to talk to some of our neighbors. We know Tom and Kathy for many years, but some of our other neighbors we actually didn't really talk to before, and it was nice to talk to them. And it was a great opportunity to meet everybody, so that was nice too.
I would just like to chime in by saying, first of all, thank you for sharing this with us early on in the process. And having done an addition on the back of our house, we are certainly know that it can be disruptive for the neighbors, and we appreciate that you're concerned for that. It's hard to imagine a construction job or addition that would be less disruptive to us. I mean, we have planted green giant trees between our house and your house just at that point, so we won't even see the work going on. I had actually thought that the construction project would take off the what your Adam characterized as the plywood addition, but it sounds like you're just going to strip it down to the frame and add on to it.
That's correct. We're going to extend it. Here, I'll put my screen back up. Hold on. Are you seeing my screen again?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, so here you can see this is the existing where you have that plywood siding here, and that's where that addition ends now. So the intention is, as you correctly surmised, to just pull that siding off and sort of fill in this corner so that it really just goes straight across. So it's going to be extending this box out by about 4 feet. And so we're extruding it out and just squaring that off. So that's the existing wall, and that's going to remain in place. And we're just sort of extending this last little bit.
That
Is that,
that's
does that view help, or should I
no,
illustrate it?
that I think I understand
Okay,
what it's going to be. So the other question, and you may not know this until you go out for bids, is how long do you think the project will be, and what's your timing?
Well, I mean, that's actually, those are some very good questions. The first thing I will say is, and as you noted, we're a little earlier in the process. A lot of times coming to the village is at the time when we're actually applying for the building permit. We wanted to be in front of you earlier because our concern is if we came to you and we were in the middle of the permit process, the owners would have already paid us for a lot more of detailed drawings, structural engineering, all sorts of stuff that goes into a permit package. And then if this variance were not to go through, it would be a costly, uh, revision to go back. So we're a little ways out from we envision applying for permits in the next, month or so. Permits in Montgomery County generally take, about 2 months. So I think that we're hoping to be underway in early 2026. And then has the contractor that you all have been talking with, Karen and Rob, given you an indication of duration that you'd care to share?
Yeah, he thinks it's possible to do this in about 4 months, 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
So we're hoping that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably right, except for the last 3 or 4 months on the interior that will extend that. But based on our experience, the last 5% could take a long time.
The longest mile.
Right, exactly. The final out.
Okay, so now I want to hand it over to the council members. If you all have any questions for the applicants, now is your chance.
I'll make a historical observation here is that if we look back at some of the old plats from Harry Martin, we can see that the lots, a number of lots on both Thornapple and Delfield were split up by him in order to squeeze in more buildable lots, which meant that what had been some fairly spacious areas were squeezed down to 50 feet or less in your case, and in some of the adjoining properties, and then down around the corner on Thornapple, and that some of the several of the variances that we've had to deal with these narrow lots where houses had been built in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and then came new building codes from both the county and then Martin's additions, and left them in non-conforming situations. So we can thank Harry Martin for this. And this is what variances were designed for. Any other council members?
Hi, this is Jeff here. I just want to make a very quick comment. First, I just want to really thank Karen and Rob for your very thoughtful comments and just how much you clearly care about your neighbors and residents and how you really thoughtfully about the various scenarios and the various plans, and working with Adam and perhaps others, just you picked the one that you felt would, best meet your needs, but also conform and really please just the neighbors, and it wasn't going beyond what you felt was required. And I think you should be commended for that, frankly, because we've seen some contentious things in the past by some developers and others. So this is really just a heartfelt thank you for that thoughtfulness. And Kathy and Tom, you showing up here and giving your vote of support. So really, I just wanted to comment and thank you for your time in submitting these plans. And I'll look forward to the vote coming up. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Any other council members? Going once?
Hey, it's Andrew. Just real quickly, just one quick question. It looked like it was the original surface area. There was kind of like a piece missing. Like I can only compare it to like my kids playing Minecraft. Like there was like this little corner that was missing. Do I see that correctly? And we're just building above that, just filling in that little slot. Did I get that right, basically?
Adam, you're muted.
Sure. Let me share my screen again. So, are you able to, so that the previous structure built in the 80s had this notch, if you're observing it correctly, if we're talking about the same thing, had this notch left over that wasn't built. And what the owners want to do is basically square off and fill in this and basically just widen that previous addition enough feet to really put a real kitchen that, has an island that you can circulate around. And, that's shown in, this is the proposed new plan.
Yeah.
And so the
And
red.
so that's exactly what I thought. So it looks like when my kids play Minecraft, they just build that up,
Yes.
that like little square area. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Right.
Tetris also, you could consider Tetris too.
Tetris,
Yes.
yeah.
Your game of choice, I guess.
Yeah, this is like when you sink one of the 4 square things in Tetris and it completes the whole row and it makes it work. So
Right. Very satisfying.
Okay, any other council member comments, observations? And then I don't think there's a need for a rebuttal to any of those things, but I will ask if there are additional neighbor comments. Kathy and Tom, yeah, please.
I would just add to Arthur's historical comment that until the most recent Martin's Additions zoning overlay went into effect, we only the R60 zoning only required 7-foot side setbacks. So when we built our addition, which affected our neighbors on the north, not the Hollisters who were living in 7209 in those days, we actually stopped at 7 foot 1 inch because our architect was concerned that he get too close by accident and go over. But we've already built an addition that would be non-conforming under the.
Tom, when was that? What year was that? Do you recall?
1995. So 30 years ago.
Okay.
So this is under the zoning that was in effect when we bought our house in this neighborhood. They could have done, the loggers could have built this as of right, and it's hard to object.
Got it.
Okay, great. And doesn't sound like there's any need for a rebuttal. So with that, we will close the public record. So everyone, please don't add anything new to the record after this point. And from here on out, it'll just be the council members discussing amongst yourself and holding a vote. So Arthur, I will let you as chair
okay.
that process.
Good. Hey, do I have any comments from any of the council members? If prior to a vote, if not, I don't see any hands up. I don't see any eyebrows up. No eye rolls from anybody. With that, let's go to a vote. And I'll start off. I say, given what we've seen, the fact that there's no more encroachment to setbacks going on than that's already there. That the historical situation, the narrowness of the lot, I vote to approve the variance.
This is Jeff here. I'll go next. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'll just echo very briefly my comments before. I want to thank Karen and Rob and Adam for your inputs. Very thoughtful. Appreciate all the inputs from the neighbors, Kathy, Tom, and I am voting for the affirmative. Thanks.
I would also vote in the affirmative. I think it does appear to be the minimum reasonably necessary to accomplish the goals and to overcome the exceptional narrowness. And looks like a go to me.
Alexa, unmute, please. You're still mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, I want to approve.
And Andrew, can you hear us?
Yes, indeed. And last but not least, I will certainly not stand in the way of what looks like a wonderful plan with minimal impact. So I would add to previous comments that I appreciate the neighbors' support and all the effort that was put into putting together this application. So I approve as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
So for the applicant's benefit, I'll just note that the decision is not final until it's written and signed by the council. Usually takes about a week. So you'll have to wait for your permit until that happens, but we'll get right on that.
And adding on to that, I know you still need to apply for county permits. So once you have your county permits, you can bring those stamped plans to us and we will issue the permit within 7 days after that.
Thank you, everybody, and get on with it now.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you,
evening.
everybody.